Hello, 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 hello. Right. Okay. So let me see where I am. Right. Hi, Debbie. Right. Let me spotlight you. Right. I'm in my kitchen tonight instead of in my office because I've got a puppy around my feet and everybody else is like AWOL. So I don't think I can put her in my office yet because I think she'll just chew everything. Right. Okay. So spotlight for everyone. And then Debbie, I will spotlight you, my love. Okay. Right. Just right, we're recording. Okay, amazing, amazing, amazing. I won't wait too long. I will just get started. People might jump on. So obviously people might watch this on the replay. It was more about I wanted to do these, and then obviously we've got a lot of content to kind of work backwards. So firstly, thank you very much for being here this evening, Debbie. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you, Dove?
I'm good, thank you. You had a good day? Is the sun shining where you are?
It is. It's cold and windy, but it's shining.
But the sun's shining. Okay, that is the main thing. Okay, guys, I'm going to get straight into it. So this is Diary of a Scentsy Consultant. Any of you that have watched the first, few weeks that we've done, the whole purpose is to show the diverse range of consultants that we have across our business. Totally inspired by Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett, because he has such a multitude of different business owners. And when I listened to that, I thought, you know what, this is so relevant to our Scentsy business. Like, there's no prerequisite for being a Scentsy consultant. You don't have to have a certain type of background, a certain type of experience. And I wanted to ask Debbie, because Debbie has been a consultant for how many years?
7, just a little over 7. So at the end of the year, it'll be 8 years.
8 years. Okay. So lots of experience, lots of things to share. And I'm going to stop talking, which I know is like, is normally quite difficult for me. But I wanted to, like I said, when the guests come on, I want them to share their stories. So without further ado, we will get started. So thank you. Like I said, thank you for doing this, Debbie. Before we talk about Scentsy, and I know obviously I've sent you some questions, but if we go off on a tangent, don't worry about it. Because when I spoke to Lindsay the other week, she kept saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking about this." And I was like, it is fine. That is kind of the point. We want to know about you, the person. And, so if we go off on a bit of a tangent, that's totally cool. So before we talk about Scentsy, tell us a little bit about you, your home life, your family, do you have children? A little bit about Debbie Allan, the person, before we talk about Debbie Allan, the Scentsy director.
Well, I am a mom. I have 2 wonderful boys. They're both grown. One still lives at home because he's in university. He graduates in June with his master's and moving on to his PhD in August. The other one is autistic, and he is independently living, and I couldn't be more proud of him. I just couldn't. I think I spotlighted him in my live when we did the whole consultant group, and we were talking about people, and I think I spotlighted him in a whole. The whole speech was about my Kyle. Yeah. But I am a wife. I am a mom to 2 fur babies now. We lost our little Abby in December, so we still have Bucky and Abby. So those are my 2 fur babies. I do Scentsy full time. I absolutely love it. We'll get into that a little bit more later. Yeah. And, basically, I'm just your everyday average 55-year-old that,
But you have a very outside of Scentsy, like you said, 2 children. I know they're grown, but obviously still have, still need their mum, and 2 fur babies. You do have, a very full life around of Scentsy. But okay, amazing. So when did you join Scentsy? Tell us a little bit about how you look good for 55, Debbie. There you go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I love your accent, because where are you based? I know you're based you're in Scotland.
I'm in Scotland. Now, a little bit of story about me is my mom married an American when I was a little girl, and he moved us across the pond to America. So I grew up in America.
Yeah.
And we moved back home 15 years ago. And that's when I got remarried to Scott. If everybody knows that Scott, if anybody in here knows Scott, I apologize if he shows up in the background somewhere. So he is a handful. So my hands are full even more than my autistic child.
Yeah.
With him. So, but I grew up in America. That's where I get the accent. So they say that when you get me mad, that's when the Scottish comes out.
Yeah.
So, but I am Scottish. I am Scottish. I was born here.
Okay.
So,
but I just love, because like 1 minute like you've got like a Scottish twang and then you're back into American. Like it's
I don't. It's done all unconsciously. I don't realize I'm doing it. And even my boys will say, "Mom, when you're talking to everybody in America, you're like so American. And then when you're talking to your friends here in Scotland, you're like so Scottish. Your Scottish comes right back out." And you know, and it's like the Glaswegian comes out in me.
Yeah.
So
it's just, even just there, it was just like it came back. It's not quite as glamorous. Mine's just Essex and Northern. It's just my kids have got like a bit of a mix, but it's not quite as glamorous as American. But yeah, every now and again you just slip. It's easy just to slip back into it, isn't it?
I do slip into it. But I joined Scentsy in December 2015, and I did it as a Christmas gift to myself because I was buying so much. I looked at the kit. In the kit at the time, they had the warmer that I was about to purchase.
Right.
So I said, okay, well, I'm about to spend 100 and some odd pounds. The kit is only 85 and I'm getting that warmer. I joined. I just clicked it and joined it for the kit. That was it. And I officially kicked off in January 2016.
Amazing. So no grand plan, no like huge expectations, just like a lot of people, you just go in with no expectation and just, you joined for the products.
I joined just for that warmer.
Just for the warmer. And which warmer was it, out of interest?
The Woot.
Oh, the Woot, the owl.
The owl.
Yeah, they still had the Woot when I joined. Yeah, I remember that one. Oh, amazing.
My very first warmer.
Have you still got
it? No.
No. Every now and again you have to have a clear out, don't you?
And decorations changed since then. Yeah, so no, don't
have it. So previous to Scentsy, kind of from, like leaving school, if you went to college, like university, from like leaving education to becoming a Scentsy consultant, what has your like previous career path looked like?
I worked at, if there is any Americans on here, I worked at Piggly Wiggly, and it was a grocery store. And that was where I worked in high school. And when I went on I got married and I got, life got in the way. And then I went to university and I became an accountant. And I was an accountant right up until I left to do Scentsy full time.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I left and I joined, I was an accountant, and 2018 was a turning year for me. That was the whole year that my life changed. Actually, it was 2017. In November 2017, my life changed. I had a stroke and I was off work. And in March of 2018, I gave up my job. I had to, for my health.
Yeah.
And I made the decision, for no pun intended here, the doctor said I was burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
And I had to make a decision. So my decision was to do something for my health. And that was when I made the collective decision that I was giving up my accountancy. I wasn't doing it anymore. If there is any accountants on here tonight or replay, you guys know it's such a stressful job. It is number crunching. And with me having the stroke, I just couldn't think straight anymore. I just thought, this is it. This is my calling. And I need to give it up. I need to make Scentsy work.
Yeah.
And that was the year I traveled from to boot camp. I went from boot camp to the Mediterranean cruise. Then I went to Anaheim for SFR, and it just felt like I was traveling that entire year also. Yeah. And it was a turning moment, 2018 for me. That was the year that changed everything for me.
That it changed, and you were like, "This is it. Like, I'm gonna go all in with this."
Mm-hmm. I have to make it work.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we'll talk about incentive trips and trips in a moment in general, but I think when you immerse yourself in, in the Scentsy culture, and, you spend time with people from home office, and you literally are surrounded by that, you come home and something does shift in you, doesn't it? Something, you can't really explain it until you do it. And that cruise, that was the first time that Debbie and I met. I think I was a star consultant when I done that trip, and I just got off. I'd been to America actually on a family holiday for 2 weeks, and we'd literally saved for that holiday for like 10 years. And when I ended the trip, I was like, I can't go because I'm in America. And I literally got off the plane from Florida, went home, pretty much unpacked, repacked, and was back on a flight to Barcelona the next day. So I was exhausted and I was shattered, I didn't know anyone, and we just got on the deck and I lay down on a sunbed next to Debbie, and then pretty much never left for the whole week. And that was amazing, that trip, wasn't it? It was like really, really special. Okay, amazing. So that took you up to, so obviously being an accountant, I do feel that, regardless of whatever background you come from, there are some skills that you can transfer into Scentsy. Like you literally, there are, what do you feel, your background, what skills do you feel you've brought from your previous career, like, your previous jobs into Scentsy?
My previous jobs in sales, basically, when I worked, it wasn't really sales, I was in customer service.
Yeah.
And working at Piggly Wiggly, working at Subway to put myself through university and things like that, the customer became always right. I don't believe that, but
yeah,
that you got it drilled into you that the customer is always right. So I think I did get a lot of my customer skills from there, because my mom also worked in the clothing business, and she would also have me come in and work for her on the weekends, like unpacking clothes and things like that. So I got to learn, how to provide good customer service through all of that. So that led into that. This job, you have to have customer skills. If you don't, it can ruin your business if you don't have good customer skills, because your customer has to be key.
100%. And that's totally, relevant and transferable into growing your team as well, because it all starts with building customer relationships and, finding new customers and everything. So I totally agree 100%. Your customers are golden. Like they are your VIPs, your priority. Yeah, totally agree. So when sorry, moving on to the next question. What were you doing for a living when you joined Scentsy? You were an accountant. Are you still doing that now? No, you're not doing that now. You've already told us that. So you've been full-time with Scentsy since the beginning. You were like, right, but it was in 2018 that you went all in and thought, you know what, I'm gonna.
When I initially joined, I just joined for some free wax.
Yeah.
No desire to grow a team. I had no desire to move up. I didn't even look at the compensation plan. I didn't care. To me, it was just a little bit of, hey, I've got some little extra cash, expendable cash, cash injection every month. Yeah. And it was great because I just rolled it right back in, because as an accountant, I was making a good income. So I kind of had to make that income net out to where, I didn't get hit with like major taxes on it. So it was just, I rolled it right back into it. So, but what started my business for me was my friends, because they would come into my house and they would say, Debbie, your house always smells so great. What is it? And I'd go, it's that little thing over there. That little thing over there has got me where I'm at today. Yeah. And, they would look at me, and then I told them, I says, hey, I joined. And they said, joined what? And I says, joined Scentsy. And they're like, that thing that makes your house smell good? And I'm like, yeah, that thing that makes my house smell good. And they all bought it. And believe it or not, I mean, I'm getting off on a tangent here again.
No, it's all good. Honestly, it's what we like.
Yeah. Believe it or not, in January of 2016, well, it was actually February and March, when we get our little awards in, I didn't know what they were. And I asked Lindsay McCallum, I put up this little bag, this little green bag, and I said, what is that? And she says, you made top sales in all of Europe for January. And I went, what? And she went, yes, you were top sales in your, I was only a certified consultant, but I'd earned shooting stars, sensational star. And she says, Debbie, they're all looking at us, because back then, we didn't have as many consultants. And so everybody kind of knew each other, and they're all saying, who is this Debbie Allan? you know, why she got so much sales in January.
Yeah.
And January is a slow month. But it was word of mouth. That was it. I didn't have a party. I didn't set up I didn't know what launch party and all that was, because sponsorship is very important. As you know, my sponsor at the time, bless her heart, she's not with Scentsy anymore, but she wasn't forthcoming about telling me what to do. So I kind of learned on my own what to do. So I kind of like the idea of, hey, I was number one.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Like
and I actually, what you just said there, and as you were speaking, I was thinking, I totally know like what's going through your mind. You know, J months are quiet, but I wholeheartedly believe J months are only quiet if you let them be quiet. Like they're a month like any other month. If you don't want it to be quiet, you can make January not quiet.
Yes.
You can make January top sales.
I've never had a quiet January. I've never had a quiet month.
No, exactly. It all starts up here. It's all what, you know, what you decide you want your month to be like. So if you go into the month going, oh, January's quiet, it's going to be quiet. But obviously, I love that. I love that you didn't know and you were like, what's this?
Didn't know. I had no idea, but I do know now.
But you know now.
Yes.
Now, this wasn't going to be my next question, but I think it's actually the perfect time to kind of move into this. So talking about like sales and awards, something that like I'm sure you are very proud of, but you should be extremely proud of is for 7 years consecutively, you've earned the annual sales award, haven't you? Which that's just absolutely incredible. So obviously that's probably like could be a whole nother training in itself, but what would be like your top, you know, for earning annual sales, for sales in general, and then I guess if you want to earn annual sales, like what would be your top 3 tips for somebody that's decided, you know, it starts again next month, that's when when the criteria resets, and you know, what would be your top tips for people that, you know, decide they want to go in and earn? Like I've never earned annual sales. I've earned annual mentor, but I've never earned. So if this was me coming to you and going, right, Debbie, next year I want to earn annual sales, what do I need to do?
I would tell you, follow the 3 core values: generosity, simplicity, and authenticity. And added bonus in there, customer service.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. So your 3 core values, I remember, I'll go back to something that Orville Thompson told me. And he told me in Rome, in my very first incentive trip, that if you run your business from those 3 core values, you will succeed in this business. You will. And that has always stuck with me since, when did we go to Rome? April of 2017.
Yeah. Amazing. And in terms of annual sales, do you literally, it's like, do you look at it and you break it down into a monthly number, or do you literally just don't look at the numbers? Do you just?
I don't even look at the numbers. I go for it, Laura. I just go for it. I know what I have to do in my head each month.
Yeah.
In order to, you know, it's a 2,500 PRV each month. That is my goal every month. And as soon as I hit that, everything is gravy above it. But if I've already hit my 2,500 by the middle of the month, I up it another 1,000 and say, I'm going to push myself to 3,500 this month. Yeah. I don't stop at my goal. No. I increase my goal.
Yeah. Amazing.
So that's what I do. I don't have a plan. I mean, I don't break it down. For new people coming on, I would say break it down. But I'm this is going to sound bad. I'm past that stage of breaking it down.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I understand what you mean, because in the beginning, you know, there's a lot, isn't there? There's a lot of information, there's a lot of training, there's a lot, but I know what you mean. When you've been in a while, you know all those things, you know what you need to do. And I literally love that was your answer, because so many people overcomplicate this business, and it's not easy, but it's simple.
It is.
And if you live by that, and if you live your business and, you know, work your business by those core values, you will get annual sales.
Yes.
Amazing. You need to hold me accountable at the next year. You need to be messaging me and going, Sawkins, where is it?
Well, I've never earned annual mentor, and that is my goal. So in return, I would say to you, you know, Laura, how do I earn annual mentor? Because that is a goal of mine that I haven't met yet. It's the only goal that I haven't met yet. And, you know, I will get there. I will get there. So
100%. And I think that is literally what I love about this business. You know, you've been in nearly 8 years. It never ends, does it? There's always room for growth. There's always room for self-evaluation. There's always, you know, another personal goal that you can, you know, that you can aim for. So that's what we need to do next year. We'll hold each other accountable. We need to get
no, don't do that to me.
No, I'm joking. Right, okay, so amazing. So what is one of your like biggest wow moments in Scentsy? Not in terms of like a training or something, because we're going to talk about that in a moment, but in terms of you know, whether you've been on, well, you've kind of touched on it a moment ago, but whether you've been on a trip or whether you've been somewhere and you've literally just stood there and thought, wow, like this is where I'm supposed to be doing like what I'm doing.
Right. I've been to every event. I have been to every SFR since I joined, except the one in Belfast when I first joined, because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And so, but for the last 6 years, I've been to every event from Amsterdam to Anaheim to London. And there's a saying in any business that you've got to show up to go up. I believe that to a point, because when you go to these events, just don't go for the freebies and the giveaways. You've got to go and learn to the trainings. You've got to go and learn from these people. You've got to go and listen to these people, because they know what they're talking about. And none of them actually computed in my head until London 2021.
Really?
And that was when I sat in that room with Tam Richards and Gemma Webb, and they spoke to me. I felt like I was the only one in the room with them in London. Yeah. And you know, when someone has a topic and they're talking about it and it catches you and captivates you, that's your moment. That's your wow moment. That's the moment that hit you. And it took me 6 years. 6 years.
Yeah.
To get that wow moment. I mean, the trainings have been wonderful from, you know, all the way up to, you know, London, and even the virtual ones. The one that hit me the most was Tam and Gemma.
Yeah, it was an amazing training. That whole event was amazing, wasn't it? It was really powerful.
The whole event, but the one that stuck to me, like I was the only one in the room listening to them, like they were, you know, focused on me when they weren't focused on me, but I felt.
But that's how they made you feel. Yeah. And that's so relevant for people listening to this. And like you say, when you say to people, you know, it's so important to go to events and show up to trainings and listen to trainings, because what resonates with one person isn't necessarily going to resonate with the next person, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's so important to show up to these things. So I love that. That's really powerful. Thank you. Okay, so that was up. So then my next question was going to be any standout or events trainings that you've listened to online, whether that's in like the Aha Moments group or in, you know, in the R2 Inspiration Station. Is there a particular like online training that you've ever listened to that you could recommend to, say, a new consultant coming in? Anything that's like, or anything that you like ever refer back to, that if you need a bit of a zhuzh, is that a word? I don't know.
Not a lot that I refer back to, but I've listened to a lot from like Melissa Graff. And, I love Jennifer Aniston. Anderson. Is it
Anderson? You never know. Jennifer Aniston might be a Scentsy consultant on the side. You never know.
If I could get her, boy, I'd be well with them, wouldn't I? But no, Jennifer here I go again, Anderson. She's really good. But to me, that's shooting for, you know, top level and things like that, your $10,000 paychecks and stuff like that. I recommend that for later on. You know, when you get to director level, shoot for that $10,000 paycheck.
Okay, and do you know what, that's really interesting, because a couple of people have mentioned that training, and Lisa spoke about that training, and I remember that being like super powerful. So clearly she has like hit the nail on the head with that training for a lot of people. So what would be your biggest tip for somebody coming into the business? Because, you know, we're in a network marketing business. loads and loads of people are really good at the marketing part, really good at putting a picture on social media, or, you know, the marketing bit, but not particularly good at the networking, because I think a lot of people see this screen, especially, you know, which was heightened in COVID, and, you know, it's fully understandable. We had no choice. We wouldn't have had a business otherwise. But when it comes to networking behind the screen, so behind social media, whether that's still networking online, you know, in inboxes and things, or networking like in the real world, what would be your biggest tip when it comes to networking?
Yeah. The big one with social media is don't rely on it. Don't rely on it. You've got to step outside that bubble. You've got to. Don't be afraid. And I've noticed this with a lot of consultants, that they get, I would say embarrassed to say I'm a Scentsy consultant in case of a backlash. Don't be afraid to say you're a Scentsy consultant. Be proud of it. And, you know, if someone doesn't like what you do, they don't have to buy from you. You just move on to the next person. But don't be afraid to go out in person. And if someone's in the candle aisle, don't be afraid to go up to them and say, hey, you buy that? You know, because I do. I'd say, you don't buy that, do you? I look like the crazy cat lady in B&M sometimes. And I say, you don't buy that, do you? Let me give you something that's better. You know,
I love that.
You know, you never know what friend you might make. You're either going to get told, for lack of better terms, piss off, or you're going to get told, really? What do you sell? And if you say Scentsy, you know, they might say, no, I've tried it, it's too expensive. Just say, I can make it affordable for you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where, you know, later on as a consultant, I'll go back to another thing too. New consultants, please don't start off with specials. Please don't start off wanting to be the person that you've joined under, whether they be a director and above, because keep this in mind, that directors and above have been in the game a little while. So they have rewards built up. They have backup built up. They've got a little bit of stock built up. So you can't jump right into this business with specials. You can't. It's business suicide. It's business suicide. So, and if you run your business on specials in this business, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail.
Agree.
Wholeheartedly. On specials. So that would be my biggest tip when it comes to networking, is don't be afraid to get out and network with people. Don't be afraid to open your mouth, and be proud to be a Scentsy consultant, because I am very proud. Scentsy has brought me to a place that I never thought I would be. Scentsy has allowed me to work from home. Scentsy has allowed me to be at home and be there for my son, even though he's 28 years old. Tomorrow, he's 28 years old. Scentsy has allowed me to be there for him, and my health has gotten so much better since I left accountancy. I don't miss it one bit. I miss the paycheck sometimes, but I love going on my trips. I love going on, and I thrive for these trips. I thrive for them. That's my holiday every year. I'm heading off to Miami on Monday.
I was going to say, which one did you choose? Miami?
No, my friend lives in Miami that I'm going on the cruise with, but we leave out of Port Canaveral in Florida a week Sunday. So amazing. I'm going on the cruise.
Oh my God, amazing. Amazing.
I'm looking so forward to it. So.
I know. There is literally nothing like a Scentsy trip, is there?
Oh my gosh. See, once you earn one, you will never stop until you earn the next one.
Yeah. Like honestly, even talking about it just like gives me goosebumps, like talking about going on a trip. So actually, again, bit of a tangent. Tell us about some of the places that you've been with Scentsy.
My first trip was Rome. Let me see if I can get them all in a row. I've been to Rome. I've been to the Mediterranean. So we went to several countries there. Actually, what, four countries was it? 3 countries. And I've been to Switzerland, Mexico. I've been to Anaheim, California. We didn't get to do the Disney.
No.
We didn't get to do the Bermuda and New York, but we were paid generously for them. And then last year I went to Norway, and this year I am going to the Caribbean.
Wow, absolutely. Like, and it is just like money can't buy, isn't it? It's not just the destination, it's all the little extra
It's the little extra, because this year I'll tell you on this trip right here, because I know you guys are all going to Monte Carlo, which I know you will have a fabulous time, but it just wasn't my thing, and I love to cruise, so that's where I'm heading. But they've upgraded us to the Royal Drink package. They've upgraded us to Wi-Fi, and they've given us $200 on board credit to spend.
Incredible.
So
I'm excited. It's amazing. Do you know what? And I think exactly like you just said, you know, I'm going to Monte Carlo, like, again, without Dan at the moment, because that is just our circumstance at the moment. We can't leave, you know, little man, but you're obviously going there because that fits with your lifestyle. But what an opportunity, like what a choice to have, you know?
I know. Yeah, we were going to do Cabo, but Cabo, Mexico, but my son graduates on June 23rd, and that trip ended June 22nd. And of course I wouldn't be back in time.
No.
And then we were going to do New York, but then I thought 5 days in New York or 8 days in a Caribbean cruise.
Yeah.
No. So we decided to do the cruise, and we're so glad we did, because we're having a 70s night, we're having a white night, and there's another night, but I can't remember what it is, but we're all dressing up in the 70s, and I'll be posting plenty of pictures.
I'm sure you will. I was going to say, and also it's the connections that you make. It's, you know, it's spending time with consultants from other regions. Like it's the events are wonderful and stuff, but it's the little conversations you have, isn't it, while you're like waiting for your breakfast, or you're sitting and having a coffee, or you're around the pool, or whatever. It's the connections that you make, and then you see people again in the future. And it, you know, it is just what money can't buy, isn't it? Sorry, I've really not been keeping an eye on the chat, so sorry, I'll just go. I'm going to be watching all your pictures, Debbie. Lisa's going to be watching your pictures. Okay, I just want to check I haven't missed any questions. I'm proud to be a Scentsy consultant, and a proud Welsh one at that, Hannah. Love it. Love. Networking is my big downfall. I'm a director, but I live in a bubble. Shell, you can totally get out of that, my love. I'm not sure anyone has really trained on network marketing. There is Alina. Sorry, Alina, I haven't got my glasses on. There's so much on YouTube, so much in the Aha Moments group, so much on the Inspiration Station and Level Up Central that the girls have just set up. So honestly, there's a lot of content out there. What have I missed the last few minutes? We're just chatting about incentive trips, Hannah. We haven't missed. We can catch up. This will all be going on there online tomorrow. Okay. Amazing. Right. So what was you've talked about when you joined. What was your why? Like, what was your, I guess you've told us it was the warmer. Was it anything other than the warmer, or was it purely that you thought, you know what, I'm going to get that warmer? Like, that was it. What was your why when you joined?
My why, like I say, my why in the beginning wasn't because of any financial gain. It wasn't, you know, children, because I didn't have any little ones. It wasn't anything to do with that. It was just, I saw the warmer and I thought, well, this is a chance to get some free wax, because at the time, remember when it was only 150 PRV you had to get. So that was like really easy, and it was free shipping. So things were a lot less complicated back then. Yeah. And I thought, well, I was spending more than that a month anyway on waxes, so why not just get myself some free? Well, my why changed when I went to Director Boot Camp. Because when I went to Director Boot Camp, I had just had my stroke. Yeah. And if anybody has ever been to Director Boot Camp, have you been to Director Boot Camp?
No, I was going to go. Lisa and Nicola and I were actually going to go, and then COVID hit, and then obviously the world went a bit crazy, and then no, I've never been. Yeah.
Well, at the end, I don't know if they do it at Superstar Director Summit, but at Director Boot Camp at the end, the last day, they have this like round table session. Everybody sits around and we all tell a little bit about ourselves. And it gets really personal. I mean, tears start flowing because you connect with these people. And when you were talking about connections, and you actually connect with these people. And these people some of them have been with Scentsy 2 years, some of them have been with 10 years. And you get to know their different lifestyles. Of course, you know, Jackie Milner and Sam Jakes and Rachel Fields were my boot camp sisters. We all went together, the four of us. Yeah. And it, you know, we actually got a stronger connection between the four of us while we were there too, because we're not only become Scentsy sisters, we become boot camp sisters. And, you know, the friendships that you create are just, the bond is there. And I feel like I have a bond with those three girls that I don't have with anybody else within Scentsy, because they're my boot camp sisters.
Yeah.
And I sat and I told a very personal, very, very personal. I don't know if a lot of people within Scentsy, I lost my little girl 28 years ago. And
yeah, I didn't know that, no.
She was just a baby. And Kyle, my son, who is autistic, he's my rainbow baby. And I hadn't told a lot of people about that. And Scentsy, I don't know what it was, but I got a new why. I got a new why because I had never really talked about her. I'd never really told anybody about that. And I was telling it to a bunch of strangers.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I can tell strangers about this, I need to open up about it. And now I talk about her more freely. So she became my why, because I would go to bed at night and not want to wake up, because my dreams is where she was alive and with me. When I woke up, my nightmare began again. And that is what a lot of people, when they lose a child, don't understand.
Yeah.
That when you lose a child, the nightmare starts when you're awake, because when you're awake, reality is there. And I had to learn how to cope with that. And those people within that room helped me. And it was really, I mean, I'm sitting here talking like this is a therapy session, but it was. Exactly, it was a therapy session, and they helped me. So she became my why, but my why has since changed again.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question, was that, you know, what has that evolved into now, obviously all these years later?
Yes, you know, now my why is I want to step up a little bit with Scentsy, more than what I already have. And you know, at the beginning of the whole life here, I told you I was 55 years old. I'm no spring chicken. And, you know, I want Scentsy to be my security later on, to where I still want to help people, but you can actually take that little step back and be in the background, but still be there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. That's
100%. Honestly, I just to pause for a moment, like, honestly, thank you so much for sharing that, because I had no idea, and that's obviously really, really honest, and you know, you've been really vulnerable and honest. So honestly, I really, really appreciate you sharing that. So thank you. That's got me a little bit choked up, I'm not gonna lie. But exactly like you just said, when you sat in that room at boot camp and you connected with those people, that's a moment that you'll never be, that will stay with you forever. And then, like you say, connections were made in that room, and you'll carry that through your business. And it is that is just super special. But I fully understand what you mean. You want this to become like, you know, a legacy that you can take forward, and you can take into your retirement years, or maybe not necessarily retire, you know, just take your foot off the gas a little bit. But amazing. Okay, back in the room. So what is your so either your proudest moment or moments, that can be anything, whether that's something for yourself, something with your team, like what is one of your, like, it's totally, and I say this to my team all the time, like, it's totally fully okay to be proud of yourself. And like, we should all, I think it's a bit of a British thing to you know, not feel comfortable with like being, you know, shouting your achievements from the rooftops, but I think it's super important. So what's like one of your proudest moments in Scentsy?
Well, I've got a few proudest moments, but I would have to say the first one was earning that first incentive trip. I was very proud of that.
Yeah. That was Rome, right? That was
Rome. That was Rome.
That was I think was that April. I joined in April 2017, and I remember everyone saying they'd just been on this trip, and I was like, what trip? Like, just
That was Rome 2017, and that was my very first time meeting Orville and Heidi. And it's something you never forget, meeting an Orville and Heidi your first time. Because people were like pushing me to go talk to her. Now, you know, you feel a little bit intimidated, but see, when you get to know, especially Heidi, she's just like us. She is down to earth. She is so welcoming. She is so just down to earth. I can't believe how down to earth she is. And when I first met her, I said to her, and I made a joke standing there, and I said, and somebody had said, it's official, you've met Heidi. And I said, no, it's not official. We're not friends on Facebook yet. And I went back to my room that night and I had a friend request from Heidi.
Oh,
I was like, it's official.
it's official now.
It's official. And since that moment, I mean, you know, I feel like I can pop a message to Heidi anytime and see, and they don't make you feel like a number. You're a person. And that's
like
ace.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And like 1,000,000%. And there's so many, Lisa's obviously just said in the comments, she's like, I didn't get it at first. And obviously then when I met them and how they made you feel. Emma's on the screen, Emma London. I know she won't mind me referencing this, but when we went on the cruise to Norway, we pulled up and Heidi and Arvo were just pulling up to see Chuck off because Heidi had COVID and they were going on it obviously because they were on their thing. Anyway, it was just totally by chance. Emma and I pulled up and Heidi and Arvo was seeing Chuck off and Dan to get on the ship. And I introduced Emma to Heidi and Arvo. It was our first trip. And when we got to our room, exactly the same as you'd said, she'd messaged and said, I hope Emma has a lovely first in Scentsy trip. Like, and it was like in passing really quickly, like, but for her to remember that, like, that is a really special human being.
Yes.
Isn't it?
And
yeah, Emma just said in the comment, we were running late. We were literally running past them.
You know, the feeling is great because, you know, I didn't even know if Heidi would remember my name, never mind friend request me on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that meant the world to me. And every time you meet them, you're not met with, you know, like, you know, sometimes you look at somebody like you're looking right through them. It's like, who are you? You don't get that. They go, hey, Debbie, hi. You know, they call you by name. And that makes you special. Out of 150,000 consultants, they remember little old me, you know, they remember that. So that's just amazing. So
amazing. Okay. So what, I've jumped on there. Okay, not to worry. Tell us one thing aside from income that Scentsy has brought into your life.
Scentsy has made me a better person, Laura. I used to, I like dogs better than people sometimes. And so, you know, because I think people can learn from dogs.
Yeah.
So, because you can go out for 5 minutes or 5 hours and you come back and you always get the same response from a dog. It doesn't matter how bad they've been or, you know, how angry you've been to them, that they peed or pooed on the carpet. You can come in that door and they will love you for who you are. They don't care what you've done to them, what you've said to them. They love you. And that's why sometimes I think people can learn a lot from animals. They can really learn a lot. And with Scentsy, you know, I'm not saying Scentsy is all roses and glitter and sparkles and everything else. You know, there's a few bad, you know, people within Scentsy too that, you know, would stab you right in the back. But you just kind of have to move through that, and you have to, you know, it's made me see what the variety of people are in this world. And because we are global and we do talk to people globally, we get to learn every personality. We get to learn every, you know, every characterization from somebody. But I think outside of the income and the fact that I can stay at home and things like that and work at my own pace and lay, you know, my husband put a post up one day and said, you know, you want to lie in your bed until noon, become a Scentsy consultant. I didn't know whether to take that as a joke or what, but I kind of thought that's the truth. You know, if I want to lie in bed till 12, I can. Yeah. And maybe you can because you've got little ones, and of course with Finley and stuff.
Yeah, I don't lie in bed till 12, but if I wanted to,
can now.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
And you know, when I first started too, don't do this, people. Don't do this. When I first started, my group name was Debbie's Delights. Well, Scott, being Scott, put up in his page, come smell Debbie's Delights. And I'm like, Scott, you need to watch how you're wording things. And he's like, I know how to word that. He says, it's funny, ain't it? And I'm like, yeah, it's funny. So, come and smell Debbie's delights, you know.
Oh, I love
So
that.
you have to see the humor side of that.
Yeah, no, he's a is he still doing his like, because he used to do like dress up as like characters, didn't he? Does he? Yeah, Batman, that's it. Yeah,
Still
yeah.
doing that. He wants to do Deadpool now, and I won't tell you. I can tell you privately. I can't just tell you on here how he wants to approach Deadpool. If you've ever watched Deadpool, just think of Deadpool and hen parties.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, around that route. But what tell us all what your business is called now, because I absolutely love your business name.
Oh, I'm the Stinky Coo.
The Stinky Coo.
The Stinky Coo. And everybody remembers that. So I had to go with something, and I tell that to my team guy, my teamies that come on. You know, when you're thinking of a name, think of something that people will always remember and relate to.
Yeah.
And you know, because if you sit there and you put Sawkins-Scentsy, if you put that into Facebook, you're going to get 20 consultants or more coming out with Sawkins-Scentsy. It's not original. So you've got to put in something that's original and it's going to be eye-catching. So
yeah, I always remember when the Hamish came out, I was like, oh my God, that is like Debbie's business. It's like
it is. I give everybody a little all the new babies that are born. I've got a bunch of little Hamishes, and I give all my customers, well, my good VIPs, their babies all get a little Hamish. So from
love
the
that. Oh, so cute. Okay, so like personal development, whether that's in audiobook form, podcast form, book form, do you do a lot of personal development? Are there any speakers or like anything you've ever listened to that has been like super inspiring, or anything that you would recommend to people?
Yes. I pulled the few books for you that I have read, and the one that I am taking on the trip with me. There is a book by Rachel Hollis. I think you all know that one. Girl, Wash Your Face. Very good reading. I got this book. Now I started reading it, but I didn't finish it. But I'd like to go back to it. It's called Influencer.
Oh yeah, I've not read that one.
It's called Influencer: the Power to Change Anything. So if you want, you know, if you're not happy with where you are in your business, you know, change it. I think it was Fraser McCallum that told me one time with my team, he said, and I says, my team just aren't working. And he says, you know what you do? You get a new team. That's true.
Yeah.
You go and get the new team, the ones that are going to work their business. Because that's another thing, you know, when you get up to director level, you don't look at the numbers on your page anymore. You look at who's working their business. And that is
getting a lot of amens, a lot of truth bombs in the comments there. Yeah.
Yes. You don't look at the numbers, you know, don't think that you have 130 people on your group, but there might only be 40 of those people that are actually working their business. So those are the people you need to focus on, you know, and work with those. So you have a team of 40. And then, of course, I got this one from you when you brought your friend on.
Yeah.
So that's what, you know, she told us to do, so we did. So I read that book, and that is really good. She is really good to sit and watch and follow, but I think she's got a new baby now, so she's kind of fallen away a little bit.
Yeah. They're in like, when I say she's my friend, like she's not my friend. That was a bit of a basically I loved her book and was sharing it everywhere. And then one of my teamies actually reached out to her. It was actually one of my teamies called Rebecca that messaged me and said, my director Laura or whatever, she absolutely loves you. Like, and will you? So she kind of set that up, and then she said to me, right, there's your opening. She was like, now you need to message her and get her in the inspiration stage. And I was like, okay.
Well, it worked.
But yeah, it worked, definitely. So yeah, she is amazing. And yeah, I do love that book. What's that one?
This is a book. I've been following this lady. She is in America. Her name is Dominique Sash. She is a journalist, and she was an anchor on one of the popular TV stations back in America, and she's turned influencer. And it's called Total Life Makeover. And I actually put the book down because I wanted to read it on the plane, and I wanted to read it, you know, during the pool, and well, maybe during the pool, because
yeah.
You know, anyway, we know how that goes. So, but she talks about how learning by doing, which is 100%. I totally agree with that. I believe on hands-on things. I'm more of a visual person than I am a book person. and I would rather watch a movie than read a book, to be honest with you. But I do like a good book, because I will pick it up. But that's going to be my read on the cruise.
Yeah, no, that sounds brilliant. I've not heard of her. I'll have to
Dominique Sack, she's absolutely amazing. She's the same age as me. She looks amazing, by the way. If I had her money and her man and everything else, I probably would too. But but she's absolutely amazing. Dominique Sash. Look her up.
Okay, cool. Amazing. Thank you. I'll check that out. Lisa's just said in the comments though that we so I got tickets for a book launch, but I couldn't go. So Lisa and Nicola went, and she said she did know who we were. So maybe she remembers her Scentsy experience. I love that. Okay, so do you have a funny or inspiring story to share?
I do. Now,
I'm guessing it's going to be funny. Is it fun?
Oh my God. It's the one that sticks in my head.
Yeah,
100%. I wasn't at any event or anything. This was from a customer. I had this customer that I wasn't friends with. I hadn't built a friendship relation with her. It was just Scentsy relationship. And then I had customer A. So I'll go with customer B and customer A. Now, customer A was a friend and a Scentsy customer. So customer A fell out with customer B, and customer B fell out with customer A. And somehow I got brought into the equation. I didn't do anything. Where did my name come up? But anyway, it came up. And so customer A was telling me why customer B and her had fallen out, and that I brought into it. And I was like, well, how did that happen? And she says, I don't know. It's because I'm friends with you. And I'm like, but I've got nothing to do with this little, dispute used to her. Yeah. So anyway, cut long story short, customer B had an order with me to be collected. So I messaged customer B, and I didn't want to say that I knew that customer B had fallen out with customer A, and customer A had fallen out with customer B. It's not me. It's not my business, not my monkey, not my circus. So I messaged customer B and I said, hey, I says, can you let me know when you're going to collect? I says, I'm available, blah, blah, blah. Well, her response was, excuse the French, stick your warmer up your arse.
Nice.
I said, charming.
Yeah.
And she says, I don't want it anymore. And I says, well, what do you want me to do with it? And she says, I want you to stick it up your arse. and I went, well, I'll try, but it won't work. And I was being snatty back, because it was like, what did I do? And so, but it was what she said back to me that is so funny. And you're probably going to think, what in the world? Now, I live in a council house. I don't have a bought house and all that stuff, I might be a little overweight, but she says, I don't know who you think you are. She says, you're 5 stone overweight. Not 5 stone overweight. You live in a council house and you sell air fresheners for a living. Well, I went, hold the bus. Air fresheners?
No.
I didn't hear you're 5 stone overweight. I didn't hear you're living in the council house. I heard you sell air fresheners for a living. And I went, no, I don't. We didn't have scent circles at the time. We didn't even have car bars at the time. I went, we don't have air freshener. So I went, well, let me just tell you that the best damn air fresheners you'll ever have. And I could not get over you sell air fresheners.
Air fresheners.
But I tell you now, what the funny part is, that happened like 5.5, almost 6 years ago. Yeah. It was really in the beginning stages. Well, one of my customers now lives next door to her. Okay. And she asked where she gets her Scentsy from. And when she said my name, she said, no, I'll pass, thank you.
No. Oh my goodness.
So the new customer, she came up to me, she had to tell me, she said, do you know so-and-so? And I went, yes. And she went, boy, she gave me the horriblest look when I told her where I got my Scentsy from. And I was like, I did nothing to the woman.
What is wrong with people?
Hold my hands up.
Kim said, what did you do with the warmer?
I stuck it up my arse. And my arse smelled great.
It was amazing. The best air freshener ever.
No, I sold it on.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, you'll get people like that will get disgruntled, but
Yeah.
you know, I just thought that was the funniest thing, and I'll never forget that. Who do you think you are?
I know. But you know what? I think it's really, really important that you told that story, because a lot of people will come into Scentsy, and you know, I know you did come from a customer facing background, but may never have had any experience with like customer service and dealing with customers. And you know, we've all learned over time that unfortunately there's not as queer as folk sometimes. And some of the things that people, and you can't take it personally. You just have to over your head and draw a line under it and move on, because you know, things are going to happen and people are going to be very strange.
And we do sell air fresheners for a living, and they're the best.
And they're amazing. They're the best. I know.
And I'll tell you something. She was also selling another multi-level marketing business, and I won't name what it is, but she's not doing it anymore, and she never made it in that business. So you know what? I'm proud to say I'm still here.
Yeah, exactly. And you've had the last laugh because obviously you took the high road, but no, that is brilliant. Okay, amazing. And I literally love that we've kept this on track. So I won't keep you too much longer, Debbie. Honestly, this has been absolutely amazing. So thank you. What is your best piece of advice if somebody was starting today and somebody was brand new, they'd never had any experience in the industry or in Scentsy? What is the best piece of advice you would give to somebody that was starting their business today?
Be you. Do not try to be someone that inspires you. Let them inspire you, but don't try to be them.
Amazing.
End of. You need to be you. And don't copy and paste. And don't go in and make it all salesy. And
it's just, I mean, do you know what?
Hands up, I've copied and pasted, but I change it. I change the wording and I kind of make it my own. And if there's a picture out there, guys, that you don't want someone using, watermark it. And unless it's a Disney picture, then of course you can't. But yeah, watermark it, and that way nobody can touch your picture.
Exactly. And I literally love that you were like, yeah, don't copy and paste, because like you just said, and I love how this is like come full circle now from what you said at the beginning. You know, how do you earn annual sales? Is simplicity, authenticity, generosity, and authenticity is one of Scentsy core values. And if you build a business by copying and pasting other people's posts, that's not being authentic, and people will see right through it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, well, honestly, just thank you so much, guys. Has anybody, before we finish up, has anybody got any questions or anything they'd like to ask? Well, I've got Debbie here. Obviously, this is going, like I said, this will go on to YouTube, and you know, I'm sure if you pop Debbie a message and you've ever got any questions, sorry, not that I'm not putting your inbox out there, Debbie, but I'm saying if you think of anything after, I'm sure it's absolutely fine. But just, yeah, honestly, just thank you. I've absolutely loved tonight, because I think, you know, even though when you have we've been on trips together and stuff, but like you said, because there are so many consultants now, and even when you are at events, especially like world tour, there's no downtime. It's all busy and it's all like this. And it's just really lovely to have spent some time with you, and, you know, to get to know you a little bit better. So honestly, thank you so much. I will just put out there as well what a lovely person this lady is, because when I was pregnant with Finley, she sent me a personalized baby girl for him when we were going on. We didn't obviously go on the trip in the end because it got cancelled. But yeah, so that, and I sent you a picture and you were like, oh my God, I forgot about that.
Did.
So thank you so much. But yeah, thank you so much, Debbie. This is like hugely appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
Thank you. And we'll be keeping each other accountable, right, for annual sales and annual mentor.
Yes, you got
That's an agreement. Cool. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. See you later.
Thanks,
bye. Bye.